It's Friday, people. Welcome along to Spy Curious.
Bro, you gotta come and get me, bro.
Go, shorty, it's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip a party like it's your birthday. And you know we don't give a fuck, it's not your birthday.
Bro, you gotta come and get me, bro.
Go, shorty, it's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip a party like it's your birthday. And you know we don't give a fuck, it's not your birthday.
Button. Casey Pyne. Come on, after our dynamic entry this week.
Very good.
That's good. Pleased to hear it. So today we're looking at positions vacant in episode 231. Say hello in the chat, people. Don't be afraid to say good day. We are also going to be looking at a couple of investigations that have been going on around the country. There's some really interesting ones this week. One that I was quite impressed by the work of the police down in Victoria. 30-year-old cold case. Guy got arrested for murder this week. And he's a flight risk because he owns his own property. He has superannuation in the bank and $250,000 in the bank. Of course he has. He's a thief that murdered someone. So he's also been charged previously with issues around cigarette hijacking. He's a real nice character, and the coppers have arrested him and he'd be on remand. He's not out on bail. So that's an interesting one down in Victoria from 30 years ago. Well done, Victorian police. In the Gold Coast this week, this magistrate had to excuse us. G'day, Jamie. How you going, buddy? Had to excuse it. G'day, Xavier. Who have I missed, Casey? Hi, Ingrid. Great to see you. G'day, Emma.
And Tony.
Hi, Tony. Well, Tony, you got it working, mate. Well done. So this magistrate had to excuse herself as a conflict of interest from a case where a lawyer was being stalked. Now, this case has been going on for some time, and of course, the magistrate knew the lawyer, but the lawyer was never named in the actual case. So on the day of the trial, the lawyer was named, and the magistrate had to say, no, I've got a conflict of interest. I even used to work with that person, and excused herself from the case before anything blew up about it. So that was an unusual one that happened. Also on the Gold Coast, we had a guy charged with setting fire to a houseboat. So he's been charged with arson over that. There's no further details on that one. I've been trying to follow that one right up. And in accident of the year, a university person, she was a professor. G'day, Michelle. How you going? Hope things are cool down in Byron. G'day, Chris. Good to see you, mate. She was run over by a golf buggy and is suing the uni for $600,000. And the uni's saying, well, she still works. There's nothing wrong with her. She's perfectly okay. But she's saying, oh, you know, I've got this, I've got that, I've got post-traumatic stress disorder, whatever. Now, golf buggies, both Casey and I can fully attest how dangerous they frigging well are, because you can't hear them coming, and people tend to drive them to the pub and think they can drive them home safely, and they drive them in all sorts of dangerous conditions. G'day, Brady. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for checking in. So golf buggies are pretty dangerous things, and you can't hear them coming because they don't make any noise, which is one of the complaints about Teslas. But that's happened recently on the Gold Coast, going to trial, and the university where she works, they're fighting it tooth and nail because they're saying, no, nothing wrong with it, can't get that. You can't just claim post-traumatic stress disorder because you dropped your library books when you were walking out of the library on the way to your car. You can't. And it's diminished post-traumatic stress disorder by so many people. Oh, I got run over by a buggy. I got PTSD. G'day, Nathan. Great to see you, mate. That is not the case. To get up on post-traumatic stress disorder, your life or someone very close to you, maybe next to you on the computer there, your life or someone very close to you has to be in imminent danger. You can't just say, oh, look, I ate a bad meal and I got post-traumatic stress disorder. Nope, not going to get up. So people are just using that term loosely. Yeah, mate, don't worry. Oh, yeah. Embarrassment. There were probably 3 books, I think that one was. So it can't be claimed. It has to have an imminent threat to life of you or someone very near you for that to get up. And people get it, and it's genuine because of it. That's not because you got hit at 4 kilometres an hour by a golf buggy. That was never going to be life-threatening. So interesting one. We'll follow that. If she gets the $600,000, I'll be desperately wrong. One of the things that's really important in investigations, in particular in general insurance investigations, is how did the burglar who stole everything valuable from the residence enter and exit the locked residence or the locked apartment, or in this case, the locked cruise ship room? What do they call a cruise ship room, Casey? I've got no idea.
Just rooms? I don't remember. It's been a while.
So it's really important that if you're going to take video for evidence, you don't wear Crocs and you don't wear embarrassing swimwear. I just want to really make a big deal about that. So let's have a look at this guy who's in a room, whatever it is, on a cruise ship, and he finds someone trying to break in rather a clever fashion.
No. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what is that? Oh my gosh, is someone trying to break in my room? Oh my gosh. Is someone there? I can't see. Oh my gosh, they're going to try and get around the handle. I'm going to call reception. I'm scared. What are they trying to do? Oh my god. They're trying to get around the handle. Oh my god. I can't see anything either. I wonder, do they know I'm here? It's like looking at the door. I'm going to call reception. I don't know if Why are they trying to break into my room? Hello? Hello? Oi! He's just trying to break into my room. He's just trying to break into my room. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't believe what just happened. I'm gonna call. Oh my god. Which one is it? This one. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hello, hi. Is this reception? Yes, someone has literally just tried breaking into my room. Yes, can I have security up here now, please? Yes, I heard a noise and they had like a magnet and some cable ties and they tried getting in. They tried breaking into my room. Yes. This isn't a joke. Oh my god. I can't believe. So they had a cable. And this is a magnet as well. Oh my god. Oh my god. So that's what they were doing. Oh my god. I cannot believe this just happened to me. Oh my god.
You looking for something?
Yeah. We're running into a cross chop and I wanted to see if the portals were closed, but your door's locked.
The portals are closed, and the door stays locked.
Fine, thank you.
Wouldn't that be great? Being burgled by Charles Bronson. So that was Anne Francis in an episode of some spy show. and a guy wearing embarrassing Crocs filming himself wearing them, claiming he's been burgled in his room. What a clever way of burgling a room. If you get locked out of your room on a cruise ship, take a magnet with you, cable tie, and a bit of rope, and you can do what that guy just did, because you would never know, if he wasn't in there, how they got access. He would have had to have a master key from the cruise ship, so they would suspect that it was the staff. Now, I can't imagine they wouldn't have CCTV down those corridors, Casey. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, there's lots of cameras around. I think there is I believe there is in the corridors.
Yeah, he might have been on the cheap cruise that doesn't have those, but someone was thinking about their burglary. And if you get burgled and you've got door handles like that, and they can do that, that's going to be hard to say. I don't know how they got access into the residence. I told you in a couple of episodes back, what they do is they take the tiles off the roof and come in through the roof. They don't go through the windows or the doors. Now, those people have got to have it like a tiling or a trade background to do that and put them back properly. G'day, Freddie. Good to see you, mate. They've got to be able to see that. But what you'll notice is through the manhole in the roof, you'll see that there's dust disturbed and there might be fingerprints on that manhole if you're looking to see, as the investigator, how entry and egress was from the residents that got burgled. So just an interesting one from a general insurance point of view of someone trying something completely different. I've got some ripper questions that I've got to get to, but I'll come to them in a minute. A little update for you. We've been asking the Commissioner for Police in New South Wales if Australian Security Academy students who hold a New South Wales licence can get an exemption from having to wear their ID badge while they're doing surveillance. Now, we wrote some 2 weeks ago to the Commissioner. We haven't had a reply yet. Now, on the Commissioner's priorities, this isn't going to be in the top 40. There's probably not going to be in the top 200. So I'm not expecting an answer straight away, but we will get one. And when I get one about getting an exemption to wear your security ID badge while you're on surveillance, I'll let you know and I'll keep you updated on that. Kieran Milne at Allied Universal is looking for experienced insurance investigators, New South Wales and Queensland and Victoria, particularly Victoria. Get in touch with them. Leanne Corcoran is HR manager who you'll be interacting with there. Brookside after general insurance investigators in Melbourne. Type in #spy into the chat, please, people, and you'll go in the draw before the end of this program today to win a pair of 007 cufflinks, just like Freddie did last week.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
You received them, Freddie?
I know, they only went yesterday, so you wouldn't have them yesterday. They're coming, Freddie, like Christmas. Okay.
We need a picture.
In Investigations Uni today, episode 66, we're looking at capability building for government departments and investigation agencies. I told you last week we achieved 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. What I didn't know is when you do that, YouTube sends you a little video. So people, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, jump on and subscribe. So that's really important. Before we come to Casey, we'll just have a look at our questions of the week. Type in #spy, people, you might win. Oh, this is a big announcement. We're going to be closed this year from Wednesday, the 20th of December to Monday, the 8th of January for the first time ever in 23 years. So that's for Christmas. I'm going to be reminding you about that every week. So if you're near the end of your course, government investigation, private investigation, finish it off because we are going to be uncontactable during that period. Okay, so first year ever this year.
Finally, we get some holidays.
Yeah, finally we get some time off. And I had some questions now. No, that's not a question. All right, Alana sent me through 10 pages of the questions, and she said, firstly, I live in... Thanks, Chris. We'll enjoy that holiday, mate. Firstly, I live in suburbs of Sydney, which are unnamed, undisclosed, and I'm wondering if you could shed some light on some investigations agencies that are reputable and I should perhaps start thinking about targeting. Okay, so Alana's an Australian Security Academy student. Within 15 minutes of sending me that email, she had 6 investigation agencies that want to talk to her. And she had the contact names of their HR managers, their person in charge, and their email address. So first question, for an Australian Security Academy student studying investigative services, 6 options straight away of the best investigation agencies that you can work for in that area of Sydney. Secondly, is it best practice to become a subcontractor? Is that how most investigators operate? Casey, what do you reckon?
Yes. It's
Why?
how we generally start out, because essentially as a private investigator, you get licensed, and it's one of the few jobs where you can just become your own boss. And that's what a lot of people actually get into the industry for. And that's how you start to reach out to different agencies. You can decide who you like working with, who you don't like working with. There's just so much opportunity out there, and Mike puts up jobs all the time. But often just starting as a subcontractor first, you get a real feel for what you like. And a lot of people just assume, oh, I'm just going to go into surveillance, I'm just going to go into factual. And being a subcontractor gives you a little bit of freedom to experience more than just a very narrow area of investigations.
Very good answer for someone that didn't know that question was coming. That's pretty good. Now, there are investigation agencies that want to put you on full time. They're really, and they have to make you an offer to do that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Others will quite happily to have you subcontract. I have investigators that I've known for 20 years. They only do 4 hours work, 6 hours work a week. They're happy doing that. That's all they want to do. If they're going to go on a world cruise or something like that and have their room in the ship broken into, they might work a little bit harder and do a couple of weeks of 30 hours or something, but mostly they just keep to what they want to do. So you've got options. You are not limited. Subcontract, great way to start out. My preference, I prefer to be subcontracted to 2 or 3 different organisations. That's just the way I would prefer to do it, rather than be just with one. Because you are going to be worked to death if you just have one. You really are going to be going for it. and if they're paying for it, they expect it, and they expect it to be right. Now, everything in these answers that we're giving you now, except what Casey just said, is in depth over on Investigations Uni, episode 66. So I go right into it. When I started in investigations, you rang up the owner of the organisation and they said, come in for an interview, whatever. And start tomorrow. That was it. That's what happened. Okay. They didn't give a toss. They just needed someone. Now it's a total different world. Those owners were well-meaning, decent old ex-coppers supplementing their police pension, doing a few things locally. Now it's an organised investigation agency with multi-million-dollar contracts with HR managers, and you meet the HR manager. And the HR manager wants to onboard you, get you going, and your success is her success or his success or whatever. So it's a really organised profession now, because they need investigators at touch points all around Australia, because they hold national contracts for corporates and governments. So they want you to succeed. You're going to be dealing with an HR manager when you go in. Keep that in mind. And there was a third question. I'm just coming to the question number 3. Might make Casey answer that one too. At completion of the course, do I need to then apply for a private investigation licence? Now, this is me answering this. Okay. Maybe this student, Alana, which his name's been changed to protect the guilty, hasn't done this unit yet, but the very first unit you do in your Australian Security Academy course, in the very first assessment you do, is about licensing and where you go to get a licence, who from and where in each state and territory. And you have to identify that in your very first assessment that you do. So that's in your course. It's there, and you should have done that first one up. Sometimes people start at the other end and may not have got to it yet. But yes, you have to apply for a private investigation licence where you live. Back in the old days, you were restricted to that. Now, trending today, because of lack of investigators around the country, is organisations and people are getting investigation licences in 3 or 4 states and conducting interviews online in other states where they're licensed as well. That's not the fault of the investigation agency or the client. We have a state licensing system and they're being compliant with that. Do not cross borders into states you are not licensed in doing that. Do not do it. The whole case will fall over at the fact that you weren't licensed to conduct that interview or that investigation. So stick with the guidance from who's guiding you. Casey, what have you got for us?
I've given this tip before for those who have been watching for a long time, but I just wanted to bring it up again as I was asked about it this week. I will just share my screen because it's a fantastic resource. Oh, did that work? There we go. And this is the Snapchat map. So I have this story where it was a couple of years ago now. I was sitting outside rickshaws at Burleigh Heads. I'd been doing surveillance all day in Burleigh Heads, and I was in Burleigh Heads getup. I was in my lawn and chain with my nice clean sand shoes. So I was trying to look like Burleigh Heads, like I'd just been for a walk around Burleigh Hill. But my subject had gone into, or person of interest, had gone into Rickshaws, which was a really fancy restaurant. And I'm pretty sure that's where he went. There's a couple of restaurants there, and I just wasn't 100% sure. And so what I did is that I just sat outside for a little bit and I decided to check the Snap map. So with the Snap map, you can see all over the world that there's different hotspots, especially big ones. Oh, Snoop Dogg's playing in Germany. There's Milan Fashion Week. You can go and click on any of these and see Snapchats that have been uploaded in regards to that in the last 24 hours. And often you've got younger people that are constantly just adding things to their Snapchat story, which can be viewed by anyone. So I was sitting outside Rickshaws. I looked up Rickshaws. You can search in the map there. And I was just looking for someone to pan across the room to see. My person of interest was quite a large person. They were wearing white, so I knew exactly what to look for. And I just got so lucky. There was someone that had recently, in the past half an hour, done a pan across the room. And there was my person of interest sitting there having lunch. So I actually didn't even have to go in to the restaurant with an excuse in my workout gear, trying to look for this person. I just had this option available to me to check first. So you can see Melbourne Showgrounds is here. Let's click on Sydney. Let's see what's happening in Sydney. This guy, he's at O Bar and Dining. We've got some people in church and their mosque, sorry. Oh, it's quite loud. You get the point. So you can check all these places. And so if I typed in Burleigh Heads, Queensland, and you'll see that there's like little spots where people have been sharing to their story. And it's just a really good way. It's also a good way for government investigators or compliance or risk managers who are looking into people that might be, say you work for BHP and they've decided to protest outside today. You can check this. You don't even have to go down. There is footage. You've got live footage that you can look at that people constantly share because it goes across their stories. You can have a look at Instagram stories as well. But I'm just talking about SnapMap today. So it's just map.snapchat.com. And I just find it a really fantastic resource. And if there is an issue, say that there's a fire in the city and you have something to do with that, you can go to OSINT Combine, have a Snap multi-viewer, which you can look at different angles of the same area at the same time. So you can check out one person's view, especially with disasters, accidents. People share this stuff to social media. They're doing it for not only their own memory, they're also doing it because they want to show people what's actually happening, and people also do it for attention. So there's plenty of ways there's 3 different ways here that you can look at different angles and like different areas at the same time to keep an eye on things. So I just think it's a really good resource, and especially that thing where I didn't have to go into Rickshaws and blow my cover. It was fantastic. So highly recommend this one. Open source. And that's my tip.
Very good tip, Casey. So you're actually doing surveillance without being where you want to be to do the surveillance. What a great tip. That is really, really useful. I'm going to try that one. You have to get Snapchat on my phone for me. You are watching, people, episode 231 of Spy Curious, Australia's only weekly news for licensed private investigators. And we're coming into some big questions now. Here we go. Do major insurance companies take on factual investigators as all the work done through investigation agencies? Casey's answer is...
Hang on. I need to see it again. Major insurance companies take on factual investigators. I believe it's through the investigation agencies.
Casey is correct.
Yeah.
Well done, Casey. Hang on, I'll get you some balloons. Yes, Casey's answer is correct. So what happened 40 years ago, yes, insurance companies had little local offices in Hobart, Adelaide, Brisbane, Darwin, Sydney, Melbourne. That was it. Then they went central to Geelong or Sydney or Melbourne or Adelaide. The tax office and Centrelink are all Adelaide. That's all their enforcement compliance is all in Adelaide. That's it. Nowhere else. They might have little sub-branches, but they don't have the capacity of Adelaide to manage it and control those investigations. Now, that's government. But investigation agencies, previously 40 years ago, there was an Allianz in Hobart, there was one in Darwin, and there was one in Uluru. But they centralised all that now with globalisation, and that's all gone. So the investigation agency wins a tender with those companies, and that tender could be worth $5 million. Really could, per year for 3 years. So that investigation agency is on a pretty good wicket. Okay, they'll get all that work or part of that work from Suncorp, or part of that work from QBE, or part of that work from the CTP liability insurer for Tasmania, the MAIB. And that's how it works. So you don't have to go out and reinvent all that and try it, because they're going to say, no, go to this investigation agency. That's who we did. We only deal with a single touch point, not 36. That's why we do it this way. In 3 years' time, you can tender for that if you have the capacity and capability, which I just talked about over in Investigations Uni. So that's how that works. So investigation agencies have corporate, government, and insurance work, and they've won contracts for that, and you work for them as part of that. Some investigation agencies, they only do child abuse investigations. That's all they do. Now, when you go and apply for work there, that's a different kettle of fish. They're just going to be working for the DHS in one state or community services in another state. Now, they're very specialist agencies who just want to do one state. You can't do it for every state. That would be impossible. So they just want to do it for New South Wales or Tasmania or wherever. So there's a whole range of different areas. There's no one size fits all, except for insurance and corporate work. And they're the single touch point. That's who you'll be working for. And I will send you the names and the contacts of those organisations for you to start off with and apply to. They all hold Australian Security Academy qualifications. They are all members of our Academy of Investigation, Risk and Loss Adjusting Professionals. They know what you've studied because they studied it, and they want to speak to you. They'll have confidence in you moving forward. So next difficult question. What should I expect as an entry-level investigator in terms of an hourly rate? I answered this over in Investigations Uni. When I started, it was around about $5.75 an hour or something like that. That's what I started with, and 75 cents a kilometre. And I made an absolute fortune. It's great. Today, a beginner is going to earn minimum of $40 an hour. That's a minimum. It all depends on how good your statements and your reports are. That's the measure stick. I don't care who you arrested, who you had your photo taken with in terms of the chief commissioner or the politician. That doesn't count. In this program and in Investigations Uni, all you've heard Pat Flynn say again and again and again. When I was an investigation manager, of an investigation firm, one of the largest in Australia. I didn't care what your qualifications were. I didn't care where you've been or what you've done. All I wanted to know is how good your statements and reports were. You show me your statement, I'll employ you. It will take 5,000 investigations to get them perfect, right? It might take 5 years to get them perfect. I mean, not 1,000 investigations, sorry, 1,000, whoops. 1,000 investigations to get statements perfect, and it'll take 5 years to have them perfect. By the time you get there, it's currently $75 an hour, top dollar. By the time you get there, you'll be looking at $100 an hour. Nothing's stopping you from going out to corporations, law firms, and saying, look, I'm here, I'm an investigator, I charge $300 an hour, and they'll go, great, we pay every 3 months. And you go, fantastic, that suits me, and you can go and do that. But investigation agencies will pay every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks, whatever they tell you when you're onboarding, and you can go, no, I don't want to do that, and go and work for someone else. But absolute beginner, $40 an hour, when your statements and reports are perfect, when all your attachments are there and they don't have to chase you for it, that's when you get up to $65, $70 an hour. So that dream in 5 years' time will be $100 an hour, all right? It's constantly evolving. Every 10 years, it triples. Something to think about there, people. I know you have 1,000 other emails to reply to. No, I have 6,000. But after so long in the police force, this is such a huge step. Unfortunately, I don't have any contacts in this area. I'm really enjoying the course and appreciate the feedback you give. Where are you going to find contacts? Well, there's one. There's another one. I think there's one there. Here's one.
Me?
He's contactable. What's his name? Brady will be only too happy to say good day. And Nathan, Nathan is always up for a bit of a chat, right? Michelle doesn't mind a bit of a chat. There are contacts in here everywhere, every week, and in Investigations Uni who are part of our community. And Jamie's been part of our community now for several years. Okay, and Jamie asked me about a job yesterday, and he was provided the contacts for people looking for work in an area that he specialises in. Okay, so you're in a community, you're in a network, you will meet those people at events, at functions, maybe at an awards night. The Australian Security Academy 2024 Excellence Awards have commenced this week, and we're organising all that with unbreakable trophies this time around. And we've got a sponsor, and the sponsor is Quick Verify. Who are they, Casey Lee?
Well, Quick Verify is my latest product. So again, if you've been watching for a few weeks, I launched it a couple of weeks ago. So it's the easiest way to verify someone that you are dealing with bank grade biometrics and virtually instant document verification. So I got a new client today, for example. I do this with all my clients now. I'm a big fan of compliance. I've been working for the Australian Security Academy for way longer than I care to admit, and sat through more classes than I care to count. So compliance and risk are just two things that I like to mitigate. And I just know moving forward, verifying the identity of private clients will be very important for individual investigators, so that we know that we're not dealing with people that we're going to coercive control. They are who they say they are. They want exactly what they say they want, as opposed to just trying to get around you to try and get an address for some other reason. So yes, as an individual operator, you can use it. I do it for enterprises and businesses, and people that are even just looking to buy something off Gumtree for a few $1,000s, and like, can you just prove that you're real first? Really simple tool. So first, Quick Look is the first business in Australia to offer this service to individuals and small businesses, because I believe in democratizing this kind of technology to help us mitigate our own risk, because the consequences are very, very bad. And if you've been in investigations for a while, you know the difficulty of scams and identity theft, and untangling yourself from that can take years and will really take a toll on your mental health. So all for helping protect everybody, not just big business and governments.
And our awards for excellence are state-based. So you'll meet Casey and I as part of your networking activities as we go around the country doing that. So looking forward to meeting you there. And Chris is always up for a cup of coffee, so he'll network with you if you buy him a coffee. Just quickly, people. Pinkerton's looking for an investigator in Melbourne, licensed. Proof Integrity Systems, James and the team at Proof Integrity Systems in Victoria looking for a factual investigator. Get in touch with James, tell him I sent you. WorkSafe Victoria, you have to have a certificate for, and government investigations are after an investigator. Seeker Group are after investigators as well, so get in touch with Seeker Group. And I have a client that's after surveillance investigators in Melbourne and Sydney. Send your application to me, copy of your license and your resume, and I'll pass it on to my client. This is a very rare opportunity with one of the leading established 30-year-old investigation firms in Australia. Great opportunity and absolutely amazing team. Don't miss that. That's the one Jamie went to yesterday, and he won't be disappointed with what he's got there. I've got to try and work out how to do our giveaway, so we'll give it a go. This happens every week, people. No.
Hashtag spy in the chat. You have extra time.
Yeah. Here we go. Can you see that?
Yep.
We've got 6 entries. Here we go. Someone's going to be wearing 007 cufflinks this time next week. And 5 people are going to hate me for the rest of their life. But Todd, well done, Todd.
I know.
Good on you, Macca. A winner. Well done. Congratulations, Todd. Everybody else keep trying next week. I've still got plenty of cufflinks. That's where you got to get your investigations qualification and your government investigations qualifications from. Had a great time this week, people. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support, Casey.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great weekend, everybody, and enjoy your investigating. Todd, you got to PM me your address, mate. All right, so it's really important. Just private message me the address you want it sent to, and this time next week you'll be out interviewing people and conducting surveillance in your 007 handcuffs. And, I'm sure that's what will be happening, and see you next week, people.
작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
Yes, that's how every investigation agency ends their week, with all units return to base. No, they don't, but good movie. Thanks, Casey. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I got a couple more goodbyes coming through.
Thanks, Amelia.
Thanks, Amelia. Thanks, Freddie. Thanks, Michelle. See you next week. Thanks for your support, people. Always great having you in every Friday. Look forward to next week, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.